Welcome back, everyone. Time to do another comparison between two phones that are kind of competitors, kind of not. I mean, the iPhone 11 is about to be outdated in like a few weeks once we get the next iPhone 12 version. So I think it's a good comparison to do for now. But like I said, the iPhone 12s are about to come out, so it's going to be a better one when those officially come out. But let's go ahead and see which one is a better deal, the iPhone 11 or the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE. Now, what's very interesting about these two phones is I cannot get the brightness right on the S20 FE, but these two phones are around the same price. The Galaxy S20 FE just came out, it cost $699, and guess what? The iPhone 11 just came out, and this one also costs $699. Now, this one did not just come out, it came out a year ago, but brand new, those are the prices. I have seen in some cases the Galaxy S20 FE actually going for $599 on Amazon, and I think I've seen some iPhone 11s go for $649. So whichever prices I find on Amazon for the cheapest ones, I'll go ahead and leave them linked down in the description below. You can get them from there, help support the channel at the same time, you guys already know. Now looking on the front, the iPhone 11 has that 6.1-inch liquid retina IPS panel, and I've been saying since the beginning that it's a pretty good panel. Actually, I haven't been saying since the beginning, since the iPhone XR, but since this phone came out, I've been on the flip side, so I guess that's a good thing. Now, there's a little bit of bezel around it. I'm sure you guys already know what it looks like in the notch up top. Now, the panel itself isn't bad, but when you do compare it to the other panels out there, including the S20 FE, this panel is not outdated, but it's kind of outshined by a lot of the successors that have came out. Now, it's not the end of the world. You know, the S20 FE has a better display, I think, but I think Apple made a decent display with this one. I think Samsung made this display too, I'm not too sure. But I think the panel on this isn't horrible, and I think we'll probably end up getting used to it more likely than not. And I think we already are. You know, these things sold like crazy, so nobody really cares about it at the end of the day. Where the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE, on the other hand, has a 6.5-inch Super AMOLED display, and this one is 1080p, so not a crazy 1440p resolution, but not like a lower resolution as the iPhone 11. There's also a higher PPI on the S20 FE as well. Now you have the whole punch display up top, which is nice, a little bit of bezel on the bottom and top, but for the most part, I think a lot of people are perfectly okay with it, and this is a futuristic design. When you look at them side by side, you can see that the Galaxy S20 FE does look like a more premium device, but on top of that already awesome display, you actually have the 120Hz refresh rate on the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE, which is a humongous asset for this design and for this phone overall. Now, when you look at other budget phones like the OnePlus Nord, Pixel 4a, whatever, they may have like 90Hz on the OnePlus Nord, and they may have a cheaper price tag like the Pixel 4a, but these two phones are the same price tag, and for you, getting a better panel and the 120Hz refresh rate is a really cool thing, as well as a fingerprint sensor built into the display just like on the S20. So that's another big thing for sure. I think it definitely, when it comes down to the panels, the Galaxy S20 FE definitely wins. On the bottom, Lightning port on the iPhone 11, USB Type-C on the Galaxy S20 FE. And on the back, you can see glass back on the iPhone 11, but a plastic back on the Galaxy S20 FE, which is very annoying. I don't know why they did that. They did a pretty good job on the front, but they totally wrecked it with the back. I don't know what they were thinking. Apple did a really good job at designing their phone, and it feels good. It looks good. Compare both. I mean, you probably can't even tell this is plastic, but it does not feel that premium in the hand, and definitely Samsung flopped here. And you have a triple camera setup on the S20 FE and a dual camera setup on the iPhone 11, which we will get into in a second. Now, some other key things to keep in mind, they both have IP68 dust and water resistance, which is really awesome. However, the iPhone 11 does not have any expandable storage. I'm sure we all know that. The S20 FE actually does have that, which is really cool. So you can get the base model of this device and expand the storage however you want to. But the iPhone 11 doesn't really have that. Is it a big deal? It's totally up to you. But in terms of the outside, I think the iPhone 11 feels more premium, but the S20 FE has a really good design, a really good display, and I prefer the design of this phone over the iPhone 11. Now, in terms of software, iOS on the iPhone, Android on the Galaxy S20 FE, I think we already know how this goes. But, you know, even longevity-wise, the Android device just isn't going to be able to compete with the iPhone, especially for that specific year, or even a year before, and sometimes even a year before that, and even sometimes a year before that. With the iPhone 11, this phone's going to be lasting for an extremely long amount of time. I don't have to tell you guys, but the S20 FE is still going to be lasting for quite a bit of time too. You can get this phone now, and it's going to last you up until like a couple years after, at least 3 years of full OS updates that Samsung promised, but you may be able to go further than that, who knows. So that's another big thing to keep in mind. I don't think it's the end of the world right now, you know, which one lasts longer, but you will, you know, kind of, you know, worry a little bit more a couple years down the line, especially 2 years later. Do you want a phone that'll get like 2 or 3 more versions of software, or a phone that'll only get 1 more version of software? So as of right now, it doesn't matter, but that is another big thing to keep in mind, in my opinion, at least long term. So that pretty much covers it up there. I'll go ahead and do a little bit of a speed test between them, and this Samsung Pay always comes up. But I'll go ahead and tell you the specs first. The Samsung Galaxy S20 FE has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chipset, an octa-core CPU, and 6 gigs of RAM on the base model and 8 gigs of RAM on the upper tier models. This specific model has 6 gigs of RAM, where the iPhone 11 has the Apple A13 Bionic chip, hex-core CPU, and 4 gigs of RAM on all the models. So let's go and see how both of these compare in terms of the speed. Now that we're back, let me go and clear out all the apps in the background, and I hope they're all clear. So on the iPhone, it's much harder, obviously. So as you can see, all the apps are cleared. So let's go and start loading these up. We can do their app stores. 3, 2, 1. And you can see S20 FE was actually super fast. And the iPhone 11 had some issues with, so again, it loaded up eventually later, so that was kind of annoying. We can do phone calls. 3, 2, 1. It was like a little bit slower, I would say, on the iPhone 11, but still about the same. We can do their cameras. 3, 2, 1. And they both were kind of the same. I think maybe the S20 FE. I think maybe the S20 FE was a little bit faster, but they were both very close at the end of the day. Now, like I said before, I have a bunch of these third-party apps we can get into. We can do Snapchat. 3, 2, 1. S20 FE definitely faster there, but I was logged into here, so that's another kind of thing to keep in mind. We can do BOFA. 3, 2, 1. A little bit of a glitch here, but it opened it up faster than the iPhone 11 still. This one did take a minute to open up, so keep that in mind. We can do Fruit Ninja. 3, 2, 1. And again, another thing that I pointed out earlier, the iPhone 11 and iPhones in general do a much better job at kind of smoothing the transitions. It's much smoother. Whereas on the Galaxy S20, it was a little glitchy. I think this one was able to open it up faster still, but that was very interesting. They always kind of glitch up a little bit, which is okay, but it can be annoying sometimes. Do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And another thing, as you guys saw, the screen is a little bit too sensitive on Samsung's. Now you can turn that down in settings, which is good, but on stock, almost every time I've had some issue with the sensitivity, including my Galaxy S20s, my S10s, my S9s, all those phones. The Galaxy S20 FE was the faster one there. Getting into some gameplay, I think they're going to be about the same, to be honest, but I guess we'll see what happens. And it's a very basic game, so I'm very sure we're not going to see any difference. You can do Snake versus Blocks. 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, S20 FE, definitely the faster one there. Getting into some gameplay, I'm pretty sure, I don't know why the screen is not working. Okay, that was very weird on the S20 FE, but iPhone 11 seemed to be working fine, but the S20 FE was the faster one for sure. We can do Twitter. 3, 2, 1. FE faster, 11 a little bit slower. We can do Stack. 3, 2, 1. And there are sometimes ads that come up, and the ad was faster to come up on the iPhone 11. The S20 FE was a little bit slower to open that ad, but it seemed like it was faster to open that initial app, which was very weird. It was kind of like a weird transition. Facebook. 3, 2, 1. And we are kind of loaded already on the iPhone 11. This one was the first time I opened that app. And I guess we can go and end it off with Real Racing 3. 3, 2, 1. Now, I did download on the S20 FE a little bit sooner, so this one may have an issue. It may have to re-download, as you guys saw. So I guess we'll kind of keep that in the back of our heads, but I am curious to see which one is the faster one. And the S20 FE is the faster one right there. I'm sure the iPhone 11 will probably open up sooner than later, but it is something to keep in mind that this one is the faster one technically. I don't know if this game is more optimized on Androids though, because every time I've opened it up on an Android, it seemed to be faster. As you can see, the iPhone 11 eventually gets into it. So like I said before, and as I said with the SE2, these things have the same chipset. The SE2 and the iPhone 11, not these two phones. But I think the iPhone 11 is the smoother phone still, but I feel like the Galaxy S20 FE is the faster phone. If you're trying to get the most amount of speed and you don't care about smoothness and the transitions and all that, then the S20 FE is for you. But I still think the iPhone 11 is a smoother device at the end of the day. So in terms of that, that pretty much covers it up. Now let's go and hit on the cameras. Now on the back, like I stated before, triple camera setup on the S20 FE, a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, 8 megapixel telephoto lens, and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor. Where on the iPhone 11 we have a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor. Now when it comes down to the software of both these devices, you can see they are roughly the same. You have the same features, photo, portrait, all that stuff, but I want to show you guys something very interesting. And even here, you can kind of see straight from the photo panel, one camera does look a little bit brighter and wider, and one looks more grainy. I feel like, in my opinion, the S20 FE already looks kind of like the better photo, in my opinion, but that's not even what I'm trying to show you yet. If I scroll all the way to the side, you can see that how many more features you have on an S20 FE over an iPhone 11's camera. You're pretty much just stuck with, standard settings that we've had for so many years now. It's the same thing. S20 FE does take that to the next level, and that's something I always like about Androids. Now on the iPhone side, I mean, these photos are always going to look good. You have that ultra-wide sensor, which is really cool as well. And these photos and videos are always consistent. They always look good. They're not that grainy. You can do 4K at 60. It's a very good looking camera at the end of the day. And like I stated before, I haven't really had too many issues with it. It always looked good. Photos look really good. And I really don't have any issues with this specific camera. Whereas on the Galaxy S20 FE is more or less the same. I feel like this camera is also very good, but you have that additional telephoto lens, which is something you don't have on the iPhone 11. You can zoom in much more. On the iPhone 11, you can zoom out, but I mean, it's very good to have both in my opinion. Now on top of that, like I stated before, you have so many more settings built into this camera, and it's weird because even an iPhone 11 Pro doesn't really have that many pro features in the camera. You just have that additional telephoto lens. This one has pro video mode, pro photo mode, and so many other settings that I really wish Apple put into their iPhone 11. Will we see them eventually? Maybe, but as of right now, I think the S20 FE is probably the better camera setup when it comes down to both of these. Now ending it off with the battery life, the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE has a 4500 mAh battery. The iPhone 11 has a 3110 mAh. I couldn't even say that right. So you have a bigger battery on the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE, and I feel like the battery life is actually better on the S20 FE as well. I feel like because you're getting that bigger battery, the resolution of the screen is like not crazy higher. It is, it's a 1080p display, but you also had the 120 Hz refresh rate. So I kind of feel like the battery life on the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE may be a little bit better, but the iPhone 11's battery life is still extremely good, and it's probably one of the best battery lives out right now. So to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, should you get the iPhone 11? Should you get the Galaxy S20 FE? Well, let me break down some pros and cons for the iPhone 11 first. I think this phone, for right now, is a really good deal in the used market. I probably wouldn't pick it up brand new right now because, the iPhone 12s are about to come out. If you're watching this after the iPhone 12s come out, then it's a different story, 100% buying it in the used market. But I feel like this phone has a lot going for it. Compared to this phone, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it still has a lot of pros. It's extremely fast. It's still extremely smooth. The software updates are killer. The camera is amazing. The battery life is very good. Like I said, the build quality is awesome as well. I think I already said that. The screen isn't bad, and there's really not too much to hate about it. It's a very, very well-rounded device. It doesn't horribly suck in anything. It doesn't really excel in anything too crazy, but it's not supposed to. It's a $700 phone, and it's even cheaper than that in the used market. A very good phone. It gets a thumbs up from me in my books. Some cons, though, I mean, especially compared to the Galaxy S20 FE, this phone has a bigger, better display, 120 Hz. That's really awesome. You have more features in this camera over the iPhone 11, which is another big deal. You have reverse wireless charging on this device. This phone has wireless charging, but this one also has wireless charging and reverse wireless charging, which is really cool. You have expandable storage, so if you don't want to just tap out at the 256 gig that this model taps out at, you can go much higher on this specific device, and it's technically faster than the iPhone 11 as well. And there's some cons, software support isn't as long as this device. It's still extremely expensive, and you can pick up a Galaxy S20 for even cheaper than this in the used market. Even on Amazon, you can pick it up for cheaper. It doesn't feel as premium as the iPhone 11. That's another thing. And like I said, software support, this phone is going to be lasting you longer. But I think, between both, hopefully I broke it down for you guys to kind of make a decision on your own. But in terms of everything, that pretty much covers it up. Like I said, if you want to pick either of these things up, links will be down in the description below. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section as well. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count. So it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.